Hi, this is Sujit Christy again on another edition of Circular de CISO. So today we are going to be talking about AI and its application. And my guest today is Kelum Wickramasinghe. So he is Group Head of IT and Information Security of Silver Mills Group. Callum, thank you so much for making time to be with me today.
Hi Sujit, it is very much great to be here today.
Thank you. Callum, we've had this conversation several times over. There's a lot of
Yeah,
buzz around AI. There's
correct.
AI, generative AI, and there are so many flavors of AI. And then in some conversations, people talk about machine learning. And then today, the AI has infiltrated so much that it has no boundaries to cross. It has probably crossed every boundary. Kids are using it, mothers are using it, parents are using it, grandparents are using it. So there's use in every aspect of life, right? It's being used in space discovery, ocean discovery, it's being used in organizations, it's used in scientific research. So I guess the boundaries are unlimited, right? So there are unlimited areas of application. So I want to have this conversation with you to understand you as head of IT and information security. How do you see this piece of technology in adoption in an organization? Cal?
Yeah, Sujit, AI, as you mentioned, that it is a buzzword during last maybe a couple of years, but every one of us, maybe most of us, got to know about AI after ChatGPT came out. So ChatGPT is a large language model. It is a
Hmm.
kind of a reasoning AI. It is a smaller subset of the large domain of AI. So when we take the AI as a whole, it is a very big domain. It is started in 1956. So it came gradually came into a stage where we are today. So, but now that's the traditional way has been changed. So people invented machine learning, and then it is a subset of AI, and then people invented deep learning. So altogether, after that, that result came out as a chat GPT or large language model. That's the journey of AI. But it is a tool. It is like a piece of software. It is like any other tool. It is also a tool. Any tool can be used for good as well as for the bad. So that's the nature, because good people use that for good purpose and the bad people use that tool for the bad purposes. So when we take
Absolutely.
chat gpt or artificial intelligence in a because in a, if I say that chat gpt, that is much more familiar than the artificial intelligence, because everyone knows about chat gpt. So AI ChatGPT like AI model work on the data. If the data is no there, so then there is no AI, because AI algorithms, it is working on if we have large set of data. So in our offices, in our may keep the cybersecurity aside, but in our domain, there are a lot of ways that in a environment in our office that data is being generated.
Mm,
So we can put some kind of machine learning algorithm or a deep learning algorithm into our processes. That would be because that you can get the full potential of AI because of if you have data. For example,
sure.
let's
So,
just move
Callum,
the side.
I'm just going to interrupt you. Yeah, I'm just going to
Yes,
interrupt
okay.
you, Callum. You mentioned something very, very important, which I want our viewers to make note of. AI is a tool which can be used
Yes,
for good purposes and for bad purposes. In other words, depending on the motive, it can be used to generate positive results or negative results. So, I
correct.
guess our conversation today is going to be more focused on how do we use AI to generate a positive outcome, right? So I interrupted you when you were trying to talk about an example, so maybe you can continue with the example, and then I would get into specifics in terms of the good use. Kello?
Yeah, Sujit. For example, let's take a cybersecurity domain. So the in Nest framework, that very first thing you need to do is the identify. So you need
Right.
to identify your assets. You need to identify your policies, procedures, everything. So you need to identify about your people. You need to identify your systems, your system boundaries. So those kind of thing in a large organization, it is very much difficult. Or if you put people, you need to have put lot of people there, because there are a lot of because technology is changing so fast. So cater those changes that human capabilities are exceeding. But that AI is much more comfortable with identifying the anomalies in a large set of data. So those kind of things you can put into in an algorithm, then it can be used for first identify your environment. Even what is there in your environment, sometimes in your inventory it is not might be there,
So
right?
what you're saying is we can use this tool to discover our assets, our digital
Exactly,
assets in our environment, which is what you're
exactly.
saying is which sometimes can be humanly not possible.
It is very difficult, Sojit. In environment, in large environment, it might be difficult. But if you look
Hmm.
at the logs or events that generate from the various systems, so it can be easily identified. So that's
Good.
the one aspect. Yeah, Sojit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Callum, I mean, you have identified, you're saying in your conversation is that this tool can be used as a discovery tool to identify the type of assets or the type of data which is being generated. Now, I would like to narrow this conversation to cybersecurity. Now, now, how do you propose or how do you think people can use AI in cybersecurity? Cal?
No, take my role as example, because I am doing
Hmm.
a lot of awareness, lot of trainings, because the number one threat vector today is the email and the phishing email. So I'm putting a lot of efforts to protect my organization, my people from deceptive emails. So if you put kind of a AI algorithm there, so it is very easy, because most of the threat actors currently use the AI for generating phishing kind of content, and in a protection perspective, so that we as a human professional, then it can be used for the protection and the detection purpose as well. For example, if we take that email as a one single example, so
Hmm.
email is a number one threat vector today. But because the analyzing the content maybe in a technical way, it is very it is a outdated one today. Because for example, I will take one example. So
Hmm.
if you take the email, then how we can protect it? You can protect it from filtering it down deceptive mail, preventing that users getting that mail. So if we can prevent it before reaching to the user, so that user is not clicking on that. So how can you then understand that it is not a genuine mail, it is a phishing mail? So it is AI, because AI algorithm can be used to understand the AI written content, because uh, in your SOC, in your SOC, that's you might be monitoring the people's behavior, that kind of because uh, but it is very difficult, Sojit. But when we take the AI, that can be used to detect the type of mail, the tone of mail. Even a deep learning algorithm can use the maybe a content, visual content like logos, signatures, and things like that. If those are different, if those are manipulated or a deep fake content, then it is the only way that AI can detect that this is a deep fake content. So based on those kind of information, that email, if we take that as an example, that can be you can prevent it getting into a user's mailbox. And also the famous attack, it is called the homograph attack, because it is very difficult for us to understand, because that's used the multiple alphabets, letters from multiple alphabets. That if you use the alphabet from other letters from other alphabet like O, it is not actually O. So but in your eyes you can't understand it. But in a trained AI algorithm, it can detect, if the algorithm alphabets are, if the letters are there in the different alphabets, then it can be easily detected, and it can be prevented that user is getting those kind of content. So if we
So
if
what
we
you're
focus on
saying,
that way.
Kalum,
Yeah, Sujit.
so Kalum,
i'm
yeah. So
yeah
what you're trying to highlight here is
I'm
that the users are the vulnerable element in the security schema. So the some of the alphabets or characters can be very deceiving to the human eye. So
correct,
even
exactly.
before that actually gets delivered to their inbox, you're saying a, a piece of technology such as a model which can be trained to detect those anomalies can prevent from an attack or from a compromise.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that's the exact, because user is clicking on the email because he is getting it. If
correct,
we prevent it, then that's in the first phase you can prevent it.
correct.
But there are certain instances, Sujit. If I am continuing this in this example, there are certain
Mhm.
instances that in a first phase that you can't, the AI model will not be able to understand. Most of the times it's happening because of the post weaponization. At the time of
Correct.
the content is delivered to your email box, it is in very innocent. That backend is not there. But once it's
Weaponized. It's not weaponized.
yes, yes, it's not weaponized. And what attackers are doing is, after some times, once it delivered, then they weaponize it. So that is already there in your mailbox. So that first protection is gone. So then we need to put another boundary or another protection level to detect that the behavior of email when the user is interacting with the email. So for example, you click on the log on to the email box, and then you click on the link. So something unfamiliar is happening in the backend. That AI model itself, that is Sujit, that UI AI model should be able to understand the various logs generated from the various system, like your email, like your EDR, like your network analyzer, web application firewall, because that might be correlated in events happening because of that clicking event. So it is very difficult, because there are a lot of email that even we take the favorite or the uh, 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 famous my email systems, they have their own protection in it, but those are
Absolutely.
very limited to the product only. So it is not looking at the
Correct.
entire system, but your
The
AI model should
ecosystem. That's right.
ecosystem, correct,
So
exactly.
I'm going to pause you here, right? I'm just trying to build a context around your example. So all what you're trying to highlight here for the viewers is that the attackers are continuously evolving. They are becoming very, very innovative.
Yeah,
So their strategy today is to somehow get a clean email delivered into the inbox so that the controls which are deployed are going to treat this as a very innocent, normal, regular email. But once
yeah,
it delivers, after a few minutes or few hours, they weaponize the backend. In other words, they weaponize the the point where they have breached. So when the
yeah,
user clicks, now these controls do not recognize this as a a breached email or a phishing email, but the traffic would flow through to the target environment, which is now malicious. So that's a
Correct.
risk. So what you are trying to
Correct.
explain here is we can use models and train the AI models to work in the background where the humans probably are not able to pay attention to detail, so that the machine and the techniques and the tools are in a position to address this risk.
Yeah, Sujit, because to get a conclusion, you need to analyze maybe a hundred of thousand of logs. So it is very
Humanly not
difficult
possible.
if you have yeah, it is not possible for human or a kind of traditional technologies. But for the AI, if you have large data set, the AI is much better. So that is the beauty of it. So
Absolutely.
that's we need to use it.
So what you have elaborated here, Callum, uh, taking email as an attack surface or threat vector, you have explained as to how an AI model can be used not only for detection but also as a protection.
Protection,
And
yeah.
I think just to add to what you are trying to explain is that when you use AI techniques or models, it also has the ability, let's say, post delivery, if it is getting weaponized, it can also go back and remove all those malicious emails or which has now become malicious. So
Yeah.
that way it continues to protect the users and the organizations. So, Carol, what would you like to share with our users in terms of where should they start, or what is that one or two things they should be doing day one if they were to look at AI to enhance their cybersecurity posture?
You need to use it from the even it's from the smallest steps. It is better, Sujit, if you are putting there, because if you are getting late, it is too late because the technology is changing so fast. So that if you can maybe you can use the cybersecurity today for the education purpose for your users. You use it today because because that's a very good content, that is a very good starting point, because that's maybe available free of charge without doing it, without investing it. The training content you can develop through the AI. So then if you can upload a kind of log sheet, log data, then based on the log data, then you can generate your own training content based on your users. So rather than waiting for large investment or larger thing to be happen, it is better if you can start it today, even for the policy and all that, for the development perspective, that you can develop it, because you might be having policies maybe a years old in your organization, and you might not be having a time to change all those policies. So simply you can kind of upload those policies, and then you can update it with the current context. So those kind of initiative, without maybe waiting for the investment or waiting for the accessing of technology. So it is the easy steps that anyone can take. So it is the starting point, I think, that most of the people, because we use the chat GPT for various other purpose, so then why not we can use that tool for the cybersecurity as well.
Absolutely. So, Callum, I mean, the takeaway for everyone here is start small. You can build
Correct.
your own models, but one of the areas of application apart from detection and protection, you can also create awareness content to enhance the user awareness using the AI models. So, Callum, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today on this subject. It's definitely enlightening. And for those people who are still contemplating to adopt AI, as Callum said, it's never too late. Start today,
That is good.
because the tool is going to be used for good purposes and also for bad purposes. And I think the threat actors have already started using AI to continuously innovate and target not just the users but also the organizations. So, with that note, Callum, thank you so much for being here. me today.
Thank you very much, Sujit, for inviting me for this discussion.